Good evening, everybody. My name is Kevin Bryant, and we're talking about cultural presence. So let's get started. Web-based social cognition. First and foremost, this web-based social cognition is a type of social cognition which in detail explores the concept of impression towards a certain person, place, culture, or thing. Web-based social cognition is at the basis information that you take in, process, store, and how you use that information based off what you find on the web. For instance, if I was looking up things about basketball, how I take that information in and how I process that information, store it, and use the information would be based off what I found on the web. Not judging what I found on the web, but having a social understanding that I have to explore to grow as a person, to bridge a gap between me and my difference of a sport for someone else's difference of a sport. Which leads back to cultural. How can that relate back to us? Based off your culture, you can show the level of social cues you have or the level of respect for other socials, cultures that you have. For instance, some cultures is disrespectful to look other people in the eye. In America, it is highly respectful to be able to look someone in the eye and see where they're coming from, understand them, let them know that they have your undivided attention. That's not the basis for every culture. Moving forward, it is said by Julian Asburilli, he says in his TED Talk, seeing feedback through your own culturally bias. Basically, he is saying that if you get feedback from any culture, how you see that feedback is based off your own cultural bias. But if you're not willing to grow and improve, you won't be able to bridge the gap between any social difference that may be happening in that given time. But that also leads to the very important question, does this culturally bias vary across cultures? The perception of these depend on the culture. When one culture is trying to engage in respect in another culture, then you can start bridging the gap and avoiding without the bias of their own culture. Yet, to change the culture, you have to change the lens of which you are looking through. Again, Julian Asburilli said that in his TED Talk. There's 3 ways he says you can do this. You can confront, complain, or conform. Or as I like to call it now, the 3 C's. You can confront the culture bias by just believing and understanding that maybe my culture is the only one that are right. You won't be able to conform or change how you see and how you perceive that said culture. You can complain about the culture by just taking a part of society. If I, for instance, live in a Muslim part of town or a Muslim society, they don't like pork. Me disregarding that and eating my own pork and complaining the fact that I like pork, they don't want me to eat pork, that's me complaining about the thing and me keeping myself a part of said society. My favorite one obviously is to conform. You can absorb, learn, and adapt. If you absorb the cultures around you, then you can learn that culture and you can adapt your way of thinking and your bias and your own culture into that culture to make everything work and bridge the gap into social differences. Now, moving forward, I do want to talk about Tibetan culture because to me this stood out as a culture that may not be the same as American culture, but is on the upward spiral of combining their own personal culture with us to create something new. For instance, the religion is based off Tibetan Buddhism, where the nuns and the monks play a key role in society. They play a key role in a multitude of different areas, but the main ones they do play one is the education and the environment. They try to protect and maintain the Tibetan language and natural tongue. That's why they protect that in education. By growing them up in what they believe and teaching them their own culture to keep that native tongue, you keep something alive, which is special. In the Bible, it does say the tongue is as sharp as any two-edged sword, or you can live and die through the tongue. Paraphrasing, but just like that, and how Christians believe that, so do them. Tibetan culture believes that their native tongue needs to be kept, needs to be persevered, needs to be kept going, and the nuns and monks do play that role in society. Also, keeping the culture and the environment alive and well. Believe in anything that the Tibetan Buddhism bringing that on and understanding that this is our culture, this is who we are, we need to keep this alive and well. Now, moving forward, I do see that there are two main differences between Tibetan culture and American culture. Tibetan culture is devoted to the Dalai Lama. They just it's a sacred animal. They keep it the most high. They want to keep it pure. They sacrifice it sometimes if they need to. On our side, we are devoted to freedom and unity. Being able to understand that we love our freedom as Americans. We want to be able to make our own decisions. We don't want to be able to conform to this one thing. We want to have the choice to conform to whatever we want to conform to. That's the freedom aspect of what we are devoted to, and the unity that we are one nation under God, as it does say in the Pledge of Allegiance. Just like that, they are devoted the same way. They believe that the Dalai Lama is high, is pure, is sanctified, and what they believe, we gotta be able to understand that. Just because they're devoted to one thing and we're devoted to something else, at the end of the day, we're both devoted to something. But at the end of the day, we both have some kind of devotion towards a freedom, a thing, a person, place, and that's what the web-based social cognition understands. But I understand that whether it's a person, human, or thing, I have nothing to say about it. One key aspect in the Tibetan culture is communication. Communication is key to them, and now they're making an upgrade towards getting mobile phones and that access to use that as a more solid foundation of their own communication. To me, in American culture, creativity is key, and the innovation of technology is growing. That is something that we do possess high in our nation and high in our culture. We want them to be able to understand that we are creative people. We are looking for the next big thing. We are looking for the best thing. We are looking to be the best nation. And how can we do that? With creativity and innovation. To dream big, think big. There are too much differences between Tibetan culture and American culture. At the basis of it, it's the same thing. The only thing different is how they worship, how they choose to live their life, how what's was important to them is different from us. But at the end of the day, cultural differences is not about the different part. It's about their culture and being ready to conform and understand and respect people around you. My name is Kevin Bryant. Hope you have good blessings. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.